Welcome, everyone. This is the first in the series of events this semester, where we will be talking about computational skills that are useful for doing computational research. So I am Paul Yang from the physics department, and today I will talk to you about vibe coding via the Antigravity editor, which is a branch of VS Code developed by Google. And later in the semester, you also have, I hope, Anita, Gustavo, and Michael will also give these talks. And all these are on the Star HPC website, which if you scan that QR code, you can get to and see the schedule. Okay. So without further ado, let me just get started with my talk. If you want to follow along, you're welcome to grab one of the temporary passwords that we have near the sign-in sheets. But this talk actually mostly will be done on our own computer as long as you have the anti-gravity editor installed. If you don't have it installed, you can install it later. So I will just do the demos on my computer. I have anti-gravity installed, and I have the project files already downloaded from Star HPC. So if you log into Star HPC, you will be able to see these template files, and you can download them and follow along. But if not, yeah.
Is there something special about anti-gravity? If I try to follow you on VS Code, would I be able to?
You will not be able to because it doesn't have the agents. But yeah, I will talk about that. Okay, so oh yeah, that would be helpful. How do I? Oh yes, thank you. So what is anti-gravity and why do I want to talk about it? So the main thing I want to talk about is using large language models to help us code. And if you look on the internet, people call this vibe coding. You turn a vibe into a code. Okay, so large language models by and large are very useful, but I think they're really only fantastic when mistakes don't matter. So if I'm trying to do something where it doesn't matter, I don't care if the AI makes a mistake, then it's really fantastic. So for example, if you're just brainstorming, it doesn't matter how many bad ideas it comes up with. If it comes up with one good idea, then I'll take it. Mistakes don't matter. Adding flourish to your writing or your presentation. So that's exactly what I have done here. My initial presentation slides were just a few lines of text. I told the AI, make this look pretty, and it was able to generate these nice looking graphics according to my text. So, if it's wrong, it doesn't really matter, but it's nice to look at for the audience, I hope. In particular, I noticed that it has made a mistake here where I'm saying you can turn your vibe into code, but it actually made the arrow point the other way. But at the end of the day, this is just a presentation, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Nick.
How do you get it to generate graphics? I used to be able to like a year ago, but I can't now.
So with ChatGPT, you have to ask IT to give you the access again because they took it away.
Okay, so just I need access to generate images.
Exactly. You just email help. Yeah, I know.
I've been wondering.
They took it away. Yeah. Anyway, which makes sense because if you give it to all the students and they all start generating images, then we burn through a lot of a lot of tokens. Okay, so what I use AI, this large language model for a lot of time is actually converting the mode of presentation. So I just write a text and the AI can convert it to an audio clip or convert it to some sort of visual presentation, and that has been tremendously helpful. But today the focus would be how you would let the AI turn the vibes that you're feeling into actual computer code and execute it. So let's see how that works. Okay. So a very brief history of the evolution of computer language as the way I see it as a practical person who doesn't actually do this. We started with something like assembly code, where you actually look at the ones and zeros in the computer, you tell it which bit to flip, which bit to move, and then you build up your program that way. It was incredibly labor intensive, but because it's literally telling the computer exactly what to do with its hardware, it was incredibly fast, right? Then over time, we moved to these compiled languages like Fortran and C, where you write the computer code, a bit less like bit flips, but more like the words will say, but not really. They can be compiled into the machine code and execute on the machine, so that you separate what's actually running on the hardware with what the humans actually code. So that's the first step of the separation. And then in modern times, the introduction of scripting languages like Python allowed us to get even further away from how the computers work. You just write, like Python is pretty close to natural language, right? It's very simple to write. And it's a bit slower, but you're able to do more without having to, learn the nitty-gritty details of how to manipulate memory, how to allocate, how to deallocate, stuff like that. So I would say that the large language models are actually the natural evolution in the next step of programming language. So basically, large language models allow us to use natural language, the English that we say every day, to tell the computer what to do. And then the language model will convert what we say, the natural language, into either scripting language, compiled language, or instruction sets, and eventually get that all the way to the computer. So I see this as a powerful way for us to talk to computer, and it's a modern way for us to talk to computer. Okay. Of course, that doesn't mean that the older languages are useless. They're actually very, very useful. And some of them are very efficient, very fast, and you have full control. They do have their virtues, but I would say that I think we should all try to learn the modern language of today, unless otherwise we'll risk being left behind. Yeah.
I have some experience with programming in MATLAB that's very useful for engineers.
Mhm.
Do you have any experience like in this approach to
Yeah.
vibe coding essentially in MATLAB? Like,
Not yet, but I would love to try. I think it can do it. So I'll show you what it's doing in Python, and then I think you can apply that to MATLAB. Okay, so now I'm gonna describe what the editor looks like. So the Antigravity editor, I took a screenshot of it on the left, is a fork of the VS Code that I think a lot of people are using these days. And if you look at the screenshot, they look almost identical. Okay, really the main difference is that Antigravity put AI agents front and center, whereas for VS Code, it's there. Copilot is there. If you squint really hard, it is there. There's a button, you can chat with it and do stuff for you, but it's not front and center. Whereas for Antigravity, you have the AI chat window open all the time. There is also, that's the AI chat window, and there's an agent manager. So you can launch multiple agents, have them do different things at the same time, and just manage them. So it just puts AI front and center, but it's really just VS Code ++. That's the way I see it. Okay, so let's actually do an example. So I don't know about you guys, I really hate our new updated banner. When you try to look up classes, it's completely unusable on the mobile phone, and it's extremely slow on my laptop. So how do I just never use it? Okay, so actually vibe coding can help us with that. So I'm gonna so this is a calendar that I made for the physics courses just by copy and pasting the data from Banner and then tell Antigravity to, hey, just make a nice presentation. And this is how it was able to do it. The prompt I used is this: visualize the course schedule in phys.txt, which is I just copy and pasted everything from the internet, from the Banner software into a text file, and then it was able to generate this. So now I'm going to try to show this in real time, and let's hope nothing goes horribly wrong. Okay. So the way I would do this, first I'll open Antigravity. And the first thing I want to do is open a new project folder. So I will go to File, open a folder, and I'm just going to make a new folder called, I guess, Physics Calendar or something. This way, yes, question.
That's beginning. You just went to Google and got Antigravity?
Yeah, you just search for, it's not a Hofstra version. You just search for Antigravity Google and you can download the free editor. So you select this folder and now it's an empty project folder. So now there's nothing in there and we can start a project. I always recommend starting each project in an empty folder. That way it doesn't interfere with other projects that you're doing and it contains the AI. The AI does not go everywhere and destroy everything, right? Okay. So now what I want to do is that I go to Banner, right? So I go to faculty services, I guess look up classes, this new horrible thing that is really hard to use. I have to search for spring, oh my gosh. And then I want to find physics. Where is it? Okay, search. And it only shows a few classes at a time. There are many pages I have to click through, which is horrible. Let's show as much as possible, but it's still not quite enough, I think. Okay, it takes forever to update. Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would want to use this. Okay. And it has as much data as possible. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to Control A and copy all of this junk and then put it into a text file. So in Antigravity, you can make a new text file. And I'm just going to say this is a text file, just paste it in. I will call this phys.txt. But be careful, this is not all the data because there's another page, right? That's a great idea, of course. And then I'm going to do the same thing, just copy all this junk into this text file. You can see there are all kinds of junks in here that really is not useful for creating. Yeah.
So on this point, I think this is really great. We talk a lot about how a big challenge in advising is just looking at all the million prerequisite requirements. Is that part of like incorporated into your approach here? Like, does it?
You can. So yeah, absolutely. You just need to give it the information. So what I'm doing here is what I call data transformation. I take text data, I'm going to transform it into visual data. And it's very good at doing that. And let me just show you what actually happens. So now that I have this file here, I'm going to tell my AI agent to please turn this into something that looks nice. So I have some prompt that I have already pre-written here for the calendar. So the prompt is, I want to visualize the course schedule, present the calendar view from Monday to Friday, showing each course as a colored box. So you can see I'm very specific about what I want. Whoops.
Click all those.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm very specific about what I want. I wanted to show each course as a colored box, and I'm telling it what information to include in the box, the course name, the instructor, the location, and the AI agent should do exactly what I ask it to. Okay, so then what we do, you can just chat right here, but let me show you the way I like to do it, which is open the AI manager. This way you have full control over the context over which you're doing this. So the project I created is called Physics Calendar, and I'm going to start a new chat in this context. So it's going to look in that folder and execute everything according to what it sees in the folder. So this is the prompt, and let's see what the AI does. So it's looking at the file right now, and it looks at all the mess and says, I can't work with this. So I'm going to extract the data into some form that is readable. So you can see what it's doing. It's extracting all the information into a way that is actually readable.
While it's doing this, is there any way of getting any of these services to output the total?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
So this is just a file. I'm just gonna let it run because this is just gonna parse the text into something. So if you're not certain what it's gonna run, you can also go back to the editor and look at the file that it has created. It has written this Python file to parse the text and then extract all the information that we want. So it's gonna extract instructor, meeting time, blah, blah, blah. So this file looks okay to me because I understand Python and I can see it's just doing something reasonable. So I'm gonna say, okay, I will accept this and I will tell the agent, go ahead and run this script and then we can keep chatting. Okay, it's gonna run the script.
So I have this sort of more of a curiosity about like how many CPU cycles are involved.
It's a lot. It's inefficient, right? Like I said in the beginning, it's very inefficient, but it saves us time.
No, I know, absolutely. Yeah. Like I'm all for it. Like damn the future, I don't care. Yeah. But I'm just curious from an information theory point of view, because I'm kind of curious. Like if I need a PBJ, I could do some of these things myself, but solve some differential equations. But I give it to like chat to do it or whatever. I'm just kind of curious how we compare it to one dynamically. Is there any way of getting it to output the number of cycles or something?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't actually know. You can ask and see if it will tell you. Yeah, I don't know. But let's see what it's doing. So it's creating a bunch of CSS file, HTML, some JavaScript. So these are website related stuff. So it's going to turn the calendar into a website view and it's going to serve it to us in the website form. Say, okay, go ahead, serve it to me. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, ran into some errors. The great thing about the AI is that it's able to look at the error and just automatically debug. So it's doing some debugging steps. I think eventually it'll figure it out. So like if we do this as a human, it will be faster. You can go directly, if you know that you want to host the server using Python, you just run this command. But the AI was able to try a few things, it failed, but it was able to recover and find out what actually works. So now it's opening up the browser. I didn't tell it to do anything. It's automatically opened up the browser and it's presenting us with the schedule. Doesn't seem to have any data. Wow, this is much worse than the first time I tried it. I tried it 3 times and it worked every single time. Of course, when you do the live demo, it doesn't work. So you can see it's trying to scroll through that website and to see what's happening. It doesn't see any data. So it's trying to debug itself. So when this blue border shows up, that means the AI is controlling your browser and trying to do stuff, either scrolling or clicking or gathering information.
So there like guardrail controlling things like this in your browser? Like, could it delete files?
It could, which is why I have set it to ask for permission every time. So you can see I have to go back and click accept many times. You see, agent needs your input, so it will only do stuff that you tell it to do. I mean, there is a setting to always give permission. I don't recommend you use that. Okay, so it did some updates.
But in principle, if you're in protected mode, if you're like in a Unix environment, right?
Yeah.
It's unlikely that it would cross those barriers.
Right, but you don't want to risk it. Yeah, so I'll talk about a few of the things that I do to try to contain the AI. But from my experience, it has not really done anything horrible. There are anecdotes on the internet where it has, so yeah, we got to be careful.
I was reading about like prompt injection and malicious attacks.
Mm.
You might import something externally and it could like override your command, the dangers of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see.
For people who are using API and automating and connecting to their databases and their emails and all that. It doesn't seem to apply here, but that comes to mind when we're talking about guardrails.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't trust the AI when it comes to security. This is why I say in the very beginning that LLMs are great when mistakes don't matter. They're fantastic when mistakes don't matter. If I make a mistake here, there's no consequence. But when your mistakes do matter, I will be very, very careful. Okay, so actually, of course, the one time I'm trying to do a live demo, it doesn't do a good job. So yeah.
And what is your typical recourse? Would you just sort of redo it from start?
You can redo it from start, or you can actually just give it some instructions here and have the correct course. But if it's so far off course, it's oftentimes just easier to restart from scratch. Okay, so unfortunately, there we go. Now so it was able to correct itself, right, eventually. So if you let this run for a bit longer, it's actually able to reorganize the courses and make them look really nice. But I think for the interest of time, I will just stop it right here. And I'll show you the final results that I was able to get from my first try, actually. So this is from my first try. I was able to get it to split up the courses into calculus-based intro, algebra-based intro, upper level courses, and you can see what the schedule looked like. On each one, there is the instructor name, the location, and the course title. So this is actually just one HTML file, which we can actually upload to our physics website if we want. Then students can just look through this rather than going through Banner. Okay, one idea, but we don't have to do that. So that's example number 1 of how to do essentially data transformation, taking the text data, as you can see, the horrible text that I copy and pasted from Banner, and then turn it into a very nice visual interface. One thing I do want to mention is that, the first round, the AI didn't do the best job with the calendar, right? It was putting everything on top of each other. When I saw this, I immediately stopped the AI and then made a second prompt. So you're able to stop the AI at any point and then do a different prompt. So I like the modern design, but the courses are overlapping. So I gave it an idea to create 3 calendars, 1 for each thing. And if I put this thing, the AI will make the changes accordingly and adjust course. So you're able to interrupt the AI anytime. So I'm going to say deny this, stop it, and give it some new instructions, and then it's able to adjust course according to your input. So I think that's actually quite nice. Okay, so let it do its thing. And let's move on to the second example. Okay, so the second example I want to do is actually something I have zero experience with. I wanted to build a Chrome extension. I have no idea how Chrome extensions work. I have no idea how to write CSS or like any of those files. So I'm just going to make a very simple app that doesn't, have any consequence. That is, I want the computer to remind me to stand up and walk around every 30 minutes or however much time it takes. I know nothing. Can we still do it? No problem. Let's just vibe this. All right. So what I said was just create a Chrome extension that can remind me to take a break and walk around every 30 minutes. And I want this timer interval to be a user input so that I can set it to 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 90 minutes, or something else. And after some back and forth, this is what I was able to come up with. So you can see there's a timer that ticks down. You're able to select 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, or input however many minutes you want as the interval. And every time I hit that interval, it will the Chrome extension will send me a notification and say, hey, stand up and walk around. So it's just a very simple example that I was really surprised. This was under an hour, from me knowing nothing to getting a working Chrome extension. Let me just show you how that works. Let's hope it doesn't, this goes better than the previous example. Okay, well, actually, where are we with that? Oh, it needs my inputs. Just forget it. Yeah, so it's doing a bunch of JavaScripts. Oh, I should mention that as it's doing this, it's also editing the file. One of the really nice things I find is that this allows me to learn about code that I have no idea how to do myself. So basically, I view these files that the AI has created as a template. Really, I want to say, okay, how do I create that kind of calendar? Okay, all you have to do is make this index.ccs, I guess, or index.html, and then there are certain things. And then when you ask the agent to do something to change this, it will put in, I think it will put in tabs. Yeah, so it was able to put in tabs. And by looking at the way it works, I have now learned how to add tabs to HTML. So I don't have to ask anybody, and the agent essentially taught me how to code in HTML. So this is just reloading the website. Let's see if it did anything good. No, it failed. Okay, well, of course, it's going to fail when we do this live. Okay. But eventually it will correct course and do it right. But okay, let me just move on to the second example. And as I said before, you always want to open a new folder for each project. So I'm going to abandon this project now, open a new folder. And let's call this Chrome extension, or just call it walk extension. You can call it whatever. Select this folder, and now it will clear up, it will clean the entire context. So now the AI has a fresh board to work with. And if we go back to the agent manager, I can go to this context, this new context, walk extension, and start my chat, start a new chat here. Okay, and in the new chat, I will say, create a Chrome extension that reminds me to take a break and walk. Okay, so just do that and let it do its work. So I think it's very interesting to watch not only the agent, but also what it's doing in the folder. So you can see the first thing it creates is this manifest.json. So what I have learned by watching this AI do its work is that a Chrome extension, all it really needs is a manifest.json. And it tells you what the name of the app is and what kind of action it can take. And then there's some aesthetic kind of stuff. So all you have to do is create this and then try to fill in the action and fill in all this other stuff. And you can see that's exactly what the AI is doing. It's trying to fill in the action for the pop-up. It's trying to fill in the aesthetic of the background. And all this look reasonable to me, so I'm just going to accept everything. So Control Enter. And it tells you which files have been edited. You can go to the next file, Control Enter, just accept everything. These are all the files that have been edited. Let's see what the agent is doing. Okay, so it wants to make a folder to contain the icons. Sounds good. Let's do it. Okay, has now made a folder, and it's generating icons with the AI. So the image generation is all automatic. I didn't have to do anything. And you can see the prompt that it gave to the image generator to create these designs. I said, okay, Walkley, fine. Yeah, image generation takes a bit of time. It looks like it's actually trying to generate a better image by trying it 3 times. Huh? Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll let it do its work, and I guess I'll keep on going with what other things I have tried with vibe coding. So this part might be a bit controversial. You know, as a system professor, I was wondering if there's any affordable housing around me, but I don't have the time to look. So I just asked the AI to look for me, and it's able to, because it's able to take over the browser, it was able to go to Zillow, put in the search around Hofstra, and then click through the listing and gather all the data, and then eventually give me a table of all the available possibilities. You know, it's very, very inefficient. I was vacuuming the room, I was like getting things ready, and it was running in the background. It took forever. So it took forever for it to type that. And then it had to set the price.
It's like a real person doing.
Yes, it's like a real person doing it, just very, very slowly.
What if those anti-robot things come up?
Yes, yes. So that's where, great. That's a great question. You can, their anti-robot things do come up, and once in a while, I just have to stop the agent, fix it, and then say continue. So that's all you have to do, because the agents,
you cannot work around it.
It's not ready to work around it. It's not ready to work around it. But because you see the blue outline, that's when the agent is working. But I can stop that at any time, take over, and then say agent resume, and then I just need to overcome the human challenges and then let the agent continue working its thing. So that's why I say this could be a bit controversial, because I guess they probably wouldn't want to be doing that. And I don't recommend it either, because it's extremely inefficient. I just wanted to see what it was able to do. Yeah. So basically, so far, I think all three examples are where mistakes don't really matter. If the AI makes a mistake in doing any of these tasks, nobody gets hurt. If it succeeds, great. I get a little bonus that I can use, a little tool that I can use. But what do you actually do if mistakes do matter? Okay, so I'm actually using this anti-gravity in my research right now. Just like 2 weeks ago, we were able to do an entire refactor an entire code base and add a documentation to the code using the AI. But I think the reason we're able to successfully do this is that we have already designed a comprehensive set of tests that the AI has to pass. Right? When it makes a code change, I ask it to run the test. If the test fails, then we revert the changes. Okay, so I think it's really important to build unit tests and integration tests for your code if you want the AI to touch your code at all, because there the mistakes actually matter. Okay. And some other important guardrails to set is to isolate the AI work. So as I said, every time I will create a new folder, I initiate the AI only in that folder, so that if it deletes all the files in that folder, fine, I lose the project, but it didn't destroy everything else. But even with that, it's still able to run commands because once it has access to your command prompt, it can really do things that are pretty crazy. So I asked the AI to ask for permission every time before it executes a command, because a single run command can wipe your entire disk, right? So you want to be a little bit careful with that. So far, I wouldn't want to let the AI go free. Eventually, maybe we'll have enough guardrails that can happen, but not yet. And one thing I want to stress is that we should be learning from the AI. I think the AI is actually a great tool to teach us how to code. Because, the way, at least as a physicist, the way I learned to be coding is I just Googled Stack Overflow and copy and pasted people's code until I realized what they were doing. The AI is essentially doing that. Like I asked it to do something, it's like Googling Stack Overflow, except it's putting all the code already into a working order, and then you just look at what it's doing, and because you can look at the changes it's making, it's easy to learn bits and pieces of the program from just by watching the AI code. And I think this is great because once we've learned how to code from the AI, you understand the computer languages, then as humans, humans are extremely efficient, energy efficient. So I highly advocate for turning these machine learned things back into human learned things, and then we can do stuff as humans in a very efficient fashion. Let me just take a quick look to see where the AI is at. Oh yeah, so it's trying to build this Chrome extension. And actually it had finished building the Chrome extension. So why don't we take a look to see if this Chrome extension actually works? So it told you that the manifest.json is the file that we need. And I just need to navigate to Chrome and install it. So let's open up Chrome. Okay. And let's see. Oh, I need to log in. I think I need to log in to be able to install extensions. So here's extensions. Let's go to manage extensions. Okay, yeah. So normally your extension tab should look like this, but you can turn on developer mode. So the chatbot does tell you to do this. If you look at what it's saying, whoops. It does tell you to enable developer mode and then load unpacked. So that's what I will do. So I went into developer mode. I'm going to load unpacked and find the extension that it made. What was it called? Walk extension, right? And just open it. And now I have a walk reminder extension. So let's see if it actually works. So you go here, you look at the walk reminder extension. I can set the time. So let's set it to 1 minute, update the interval, and there's a countdown. So let's see if in 1 minute it will remind us to walk, even though I'm standing. Okay, so I talked about all the stuff that the LLM can do, like the human task normally the human would do. Can they replace us? Okay, so I think it definitely cannot replace all of us. Okay, I was doing some searches on the internet about what's happening with the layoff. So there's the layoff boomerang report that actually says about 10% of the people that got, well, actually, no, about 5% of the people that got laid off eventually got rehired. Okay, it's not a great odds, but there's some solace to be taken in that. And what would make you more likely to be rehired, to be, essential, not replaceable by AI? Well, it turns out high-performing individuals are the most likely to be rehired, about 12%. People managers, if you deal with people, you're more likely to be retired. If you have a lot of experience, 10 to 15 years of experience, you're more likely to be rehired. But so there's a caution story of this. I think this is the most famous example that I could find. The Klarna is a Swedish buy now, pay later service. They tried to lay off like half of their employees by replacing the customer service section with chatbots. And of course, that backfired. All the customers said their service was horrible, so they had to rehire. They had to start rehiring humans. So basically, I think there are two areas that the AI really, really struggle. That is, one, it doesn't understand human empathy very well. So if you are dealing in a job that requires a lot of human empathy, I think teaching is one of them. It's fairly insulated from AI at this point. And the second thing is that it's very, very bad at critical thinking, especially a lot of critical thinking. So here I was actually involved in this project called Critical Point, so critpod.com, where we designed a physics test which requires a lot of critical thinking, and we gave it to the AIs to ask them to do it. Okay, how did they do? Back when we published this paper, all of the AI models were getting 0%, 0 out of 100. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. 0 out of 100. And even today, so I just looked at this leaderboard again. Even today, most of them are getting below 10% of the problems. So if you have very strong critical thinking skills, you're irreplaceable. So those are something to think about. Another thing to notice is that the cost of running the AI is shooting up extremely fast. Last year it only costed $4 to run this test set to take this test. Today it's taking like $200 to take this test. The electricity cost is quite astounding. Okay. Before I go to the conclusions, let me just see if the AI has finished everything. Oh, I think it actually errored out. So this is what I found the first time. Oh, whoops, sorry. You can't see my screen. So in Chrome, back in Chrome, it was not able to run the extension very well because the extension actually came up with errors. And this is also what I saw the first time I tried this. So then, but you can look at these errors and then give the errors back to the AI agent, and eventually the AI agent's able to help you debug and make it work. So I have fully working Chrome extensions just by going a little bit of back and forth between me and the AI. So of course, every time I do a live demo, it doesn't get it right, but you can take my word for it. Okay. All right, that's essentially everything I wanted to say. So I want to conclude by saying that I think large language models are really quite ready to help us take a big leap in the way we use our computers. Okay, we don't have to sit down and write every single line of code. It's really good at text-based data transformation. The first example I showed where you take the banner text and turn it into a calendar view. If you want to do more advanced applications like doing the Chrome browser extension, you should get ready to do some back and forth, do some debugging with the AI. But I think it's pretty good with coding those type of stuff already. It's not ready to browse the web like humans. If you want to try the example with Zillow at home, you can go ahead and try that. It's excruciatingly slow and it makes all kinds of mistakes. But the feature is still experimental, and this is the worst they can get. Even in its worst state today, it's still somewhat useful to me. It was able to give me a list to look through. I can't afford anything, but it was nice to look at those. Okay, so, but this also, I mean, the fact that LLMs are getting so much better also brings me to the topic of how do we make ourselves LLM proof? How do we make our jobs not replaceable by AI? And I think some of the key things is that we should start trying them. If we don't start trying them, we wouldn't understand their strengths and weaknesses. So we should, if we use them enough, then we understand when they're good, when they're bad, and we can position ourselves to do the work that they're really, really bad at. We need to build guardrails for the AI to work for us rather than to mess up our work. So I talked about a few of those things, like when you're programming, you want to put in unit tests, integration tests, and make sure the AI asks for permission. And I think, because the AIs are developing so fast, if we want to keep up, we also need to learn from the AI. So I highly encourage everybody, when you're using AI, don't just rely on them as a crutch, but rather look at the output and see if you can learn what the AI is trying to do and learn to do it better. And most of the time, we can do it much better, much more efficient. And I think I actually find a lot of joy in that. So finally, for the students, if you want to be AI proof, I highly recommend that you increase your critical thinking ability and cultivate your empathy, because those are the two things that I find that AI agents are terrible at as of today.